The moment burned itself into his memory like a flash of lightning tearing through a quiet sky, sudden and irreversible, leaving behind a thunder that never truly faded. 1 second, his hand was on the office door, his mind weighed down by deadlines and unpaid school fees, and the next, the world cracked open in a way he had never prepared for. What he saw lasted only a heartbeat, but the consequences of it settled deep inside his chest, heavy and unmovable, changing how he saw himself, his boss, and the fragile balance holding his life together. Before the story pulls you any deeper, take a second right now. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet strength of people who keep going even when life is unfair, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Ethan Hale had not planned on being a single father. He had not planned on being widowed at 32, with a 5-year-old daughter who still waited by the door every evening, convinced her mother might somehow come back. He had not planned on the exhaustion that settled into his bones, the kind that sleep never fixed, or the constant fear that one wrong step would cost him the only stable job he had left. His days began before sunrise and ended long after his daughter was asleep, his life measured in lunches packed, bills counted twice, and silent prayers whispered over cold coffee. The job at Marlowe and Company was more than employment, it was survival. His boss, Claire Marlowe, was everything he was not: composed, decisive, and seemingly untouched by the chaos of the world. She moved through the office with calm authority, her presence quiet but commanding, a woman who had built an empire after losing her husband years before. To Ethan, she was distant and untouchable, a reminder of how far he felt from control over his own life. He respected her deeply, not just because she paid his salary, but because she never raised her voice, never humiliated anyone, and somehow noticed the smallest details others ignored. She knew his daughter's name. She knew when he left early for school meetings. She never asked questions, but she always understood. The accident happened late one evening, when the office had emptied out and the building echoed with silence. Ethan had stayed late to finish a report, his mind racing with thoughts of overdue rent and a parent-teacher meeting the next morning. He carried the file to Claire's office, assuming she had already left. The door was slightly open, the lights dim. He knocked once, softly, and when there was no answer, he pushed the door just enough to step inside. That single, unthinking movement changed everything. What he saw was not meant for him, not meant for anyone. It was not provocative, not staged, not dramatic. It was simply human, a woman caught in a private moment, vulnerable and unguarded. Ethan froze, his breath caught painfully in his throat. His mind screamed at him to look away, and he did, instantly, backing out of the room as if burned. His face flushed with shame, his heart pounding so loudly he was sure the entire floor could hear it. He had seen something he never wanted to see, something that crossed a line he had never even come close to before. But it wasn't the sight itself that broke him. It was what followed. Claire's reaction was not anger, not accusation, not even embarrassment in the way he expected. She stepped into the doorway, her expression calm but wounded in a way that cut deeper than any harsh word. She said nothing. She simply looked at him with a quiet understanding that told him she knew exactly how much this moment would haunt him. She apologized first, taking the blame onto herself. And in that instant, something inside Ethan cracked wide open. He walked out of the office that night with his hands shaking, replaying her expression over and over again. Shame twisted in his stomach, not because of what he had seen, but because of how gently she had handled it, how she had protected him from humiliation even when she herself had been exposed. He felt smaller than he ever had in his life. The next day, he considered quitting. He imagined packing up his desk, walking away before rumors could start, before his presence became uncomfortable. But he couldn't. He had a daughter waiting at home. He had responsibilities that didn't care about pride. The days that followed were suffocating. Every hallway felt too narrow, every meeting too quiet. Ethan avoided eye contact, kept his head down, and worked twice as hard, hoping effort could erase memory. Claire, for her part, treated him exactly the same. No coldness, no distance, no awkwardness. That was what hurt the most. Her normalcy felt like a kindness he didn't deserve. As weeks passed, the tension inside Ethan grew unbearable. The accident had triggered something deeper than embarrassment. It had forced him to confront how fragile his life truly was, how easily everything could unravel. At home, his daughter sensed a change. She asked why he looked tired all the time, why he stared off into space during dinner. He lied, telling her work was just busy. The truth was harder. He felt unworthy of the trust placed in him, at work and at home. One evening, as rain streaked down the office windows, Claire asked him to stay behind. His chest tightened, fear and guilt colliding. He expected a reprimand, a quiet request for resignation, something to end the unspoken tension. Instead, she spoke about loss. About how her husband's death had taught her that shame thrives in silence. About how people punish themselves far more cruelly than anyone else ever could. She told him she saw the weight he carried, not just from that night, but from his life. And then she said something that stayed with him forever, that accidents do not define character, choices do. Ethan left that conversation shaken, but lighter. For the first time since his wife's funeral, someone had seen through his exhaustion and spoken to the part of him that was barely holding on. The incident that had nearly destroyed his sense of self became the moment that forced him to face his own harsh judgments. He began to breathe again. He began to forgive himself. Over time, small changes followed. He stopped working himself into the ground and started asking for help when he needed it. He smiled more at his daughter. He allowed himself to believe that one mistake did not erase all the good he tried to do. Claire remained his boss, professional and composed, but something unspoken connected them now, a shared understanding of vulnerability and resilience. The story did not end with romance or grand gestures. It ended with healing. Ethan learned that dignity is not about never stumbling, but about how you stand back up. He learned that respect can be rebuilt through honesty and humility. Most importantly, he learned that kindness, when offered without conditions, can break a person open and put them back together stronger than before. If this story touched something inside you, if it reminded you that even the most painful moments can lead to growth and grace, please take a moment near the end of this video to like, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. And before this story ends, I have one special request. Please comment below and tell us whether you believe forgiveness can truly change a life. Because sometimes, the moments that almost destroy us are the very ones that teach us how to live again.